Hello everyone, welcome to Real Reds Talk with all the latest news stories around Manchester United, and we have a massive Saudi story should I say, coming on. Bruno Fernandes, timed perfectly for once. Usually when big news bits drop like this, it's typically, why is my connection like that? Sorry people, I'm just double checking. For some bizarre reason, it's, let me switch over, it's okay now. Yeah, sorry, apologies about that if I was lagging a little bit. But yeah, once and for all, or finally should I say, it's timed perfectly for a bit of news. Usually when breaking news goes live, it's when me or Sam are in the bath, or it's about 6 in the morning or something ridiculous. So these are the topics on your table today that are going to, what we're going to discuss. Bruno to Saudi Arabia before the Club World Cup. Garnacho debate, which of course we'll dive into depth on that. Real Betis have contacted United in regards to Antony. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him, and also some updates on Athletic Club's players heading into Thursday's second leg. And also we'll have the preview for that shortly, dropping tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. But this Bruno story, Sam, is taking the world by storm at the minute, and this is how it reads. I know you've seen it, but for the benefit of people who are watching. Bruno Fernandes' lawyer and agent met with the management of Al Hilal today. The Saudi Pro League side want to sign him before the Club World Cup starts on the 14th of June. Now, I believe this is from, and correct me if whenever you want, Sam, I believe this is from a journalist in Saudi with around 1.5 million followers. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's followed by Fabrizio Romano, and he works for Al Riyadi newspaper, which I believe is the biggest journalistic publication in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Now, obviously, journalism in Saudi Arabia is not the most, how can I put it?
Reliable?
Not reliable. Not the most free. They're not allowed to say whatever they want. Basically, as we know, there was a journalist murdered for doing just that. So take that as a point for it. It's not free press, put it that way. So there could be something behind this story where they're like, oh, let's put it out there and stuff like that. However, the guy has got a massive following. This is not a dude who was that guy. What was the story he put out? And he was in Swansea. He had like
the guy in the bedroom. Yeah, bloody hell, do you remember all that? Fucking hell. I can't. It was Qatar to have taken over United, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not one of these things. Like, it's not a guy and it's just traced back to a shitty rumor. This seems to be a legit journalist who's followed by Fabrizio Romano. So take that for what you will. But yeah, it's mad. It's a mad story. Absolutely mental. We know they were going after younger profile players. I don't know if Bruno fits into that because he's 30. So it's a weird one thing. But maybe it's the star power. Maybe that's what they're after, the sort of star power that he has. He played for Manchester United. He's our best player. So maybe that's what they're after. I'm not sure. But yeah, it just came out of nowhere, this. I know he said, didn't he, in an interview that Saudi came for him. Was it last summer?
I think so. Yeah, there was definitely concrete conversations anyway.
And he turned them down. So they must have come back to the table with an even bigger offer for him, for the agent and the lawyer to meet with him. There must be like some significant improvement on the offer, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I know the comment section isn't always a state of verification, but a lot of the people were saying, people who actually live in Riyadh and in Saudi are all saying he's a very reliable journalist. So you have to kind of take it for what it is. But I mean, I suppose the questions I kind of want to explore, Sammy, is let's just start off first and foremost. If we're going into this hypothetically, and let me get my glasses on for this because it means it's serious time. For all the people who are calling me Simon Cowell in the comment section, that's for you. Fuckers. Anyway, how much is he worth, do you reckon?
To me personally,
well, to us, it's worth a lot in it. Like, I think there's no question about that.
I was going to say, how much does Sir Jim need to buy the Glazers out?
Yeah.
How much does he need? Whatever that is. There you
70 mil? Not 70 mil. Fucking hell. 70%.
70 billion? Yeah, 7 billion. Whatever it is, the Glazers want. There you go. There's your price tag. Start there. We'll knock our way down. But seriously, he's 100 million plus, surely. Like, he's our most important player.
When Saudi are involved as well. Like, come on.
He signed a long-term deal, I think, last year, like a new contract, 4-year deal. So you got to buy that out. He's on one of the higher wages that we've got at the club. It's going to be pricey, man. It's going to be pricey if you want him. And we have to absolutely, if we're going to sell him or even consider doing it, which I don't think we should, if we consider doing it, it has to be record levels of income to do it. That's the only way to do it. If they come in about, we'll pay 70 million, they could get fucked and go away. But if they're prepared to pay stupid money, I don't think you can not take a look at it. Like, if it's stupid money.
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, I'll say I don't think Saudi are going to be getting the piggy bank out for this and scraping the change. It's not something they're going to do. I know it's calmed down a little bit on in terms of how much they are throwing money at players, and they're being a little bit more reserved in that sense. But I think there'll still be a pretty penny for him, and I think it will definitely start entering surely 100 million or at least close to that. And then obviously his wages on top of that. I mean, the package that he was offering De Bruyne was outrageous. It was like 600 grand a week or something. Yeah. So I'd imagine for someone who is nowhere near as injury prone, can play as twice the games, and is that still at probably the best level in the Premier League. You'd imagine he would have longevity, right, in Saudi going over there, and just because of the nature of the league, it's nowhere near as intense to the Premier League. So there's still a value to them in that sense. If you're selling him to, let's say, a Spanish club or whoever, right, it's a different conversation. But I think Saudi being involved, and if they really want to push it, do you think he would go?
I don't. He doesn't see. I mean, everybody's got a number, haven't they? Like, he doesn't seem super money orientated. Like, it doesn't seem like that sort of guy. Obviously, get as much money as you can in your career. It's a short career as a football player. Like, you have to retire in your 30s, so it's a very short career. So, obviously, players want to get their maximum buck, and you saw Ivan Toney, what was he, 27, 28 when he went to Saudi?
Yeah.
He went over there, and he's basically just earning absolute shit tons. Osman, apparently, his most likely destination is Saudi as well, according to a lot of people.
Ornstein, I think, said that, yeah.
Ornstein, yeah. So there's a lot of top players, European players, who were going over there and earning money. You saw Ruben Neves from Wolves. He went there basically to earn the thing. So I bet there's a number on the table where you go, how much is it going to take? And everybody's got a number. I don't care who you are. Like, if they offer you stupid money, at some point you're going to go, I can't turn this down. This is life-changing wealth for me, my family, generations of my future family and stuff like that. That's why the likes of Jordan Henderson went. That's why he went, despite all these political protestations to the country. So there's always a number. I just don't know whether Saudi would go to that number. That's the question.
I think you got to think about it. Like, what these guys are offering, like Sam says, there, 500 grand a week. I mean, you are literally sorting out a generation of your family. Like, it's ridiculous money that they're offering. So I know people go on and saying, "Oh, you're just going for money. You just go for this." It's like, well, look, these kind of players. I know Bruno could probably go for a bit longer just because of the player that he is. But these kind of players, when you start getting to 30, that's when you get your last big contract. That's your last one. I know he's currently on a contract in a minute, and it probably runs out when he's 33, something like that, around that area. But if Saudi come in now and even give him a longer one, say 6-7 years, and you're making £2 million a month, I mean, it's testing you, that, isn't it?
It's tax free as well. If you're there for 2 years, tax free, so you pay no tax on it. And obviously over here you get taxed. Anything above, I think anything above 100 grand a year, you're getting 50% tax on it, and then anything above that, it could be 60% tax. So that's a consideration. And I know a lot of people are, you've got enough money, but that when you're earning that amount of money, that's what people consider. That's why Sir Jim Radcliffe don't live in this country, because he don't want to pay tax on all the money he's got. So, there's definitely a consideration there. Like, we've seen people with stronger beliefs than Bruno go out there, and we've seen people who you thought would never go out there. So it's just a matter of money, I guess. It's just like, how much money are you going to offer?
There's a couple more questions I want to ask, but I want to get everyone else's thoughts. Really, really interested to see where people would sit on this. And don't sit on the fence either, whether you are watching live or later on. I want to hear your opinions. Bahir saying, I want world peace and billions of pounds in my account before June the 1st. Don't we all, mate? James McGrogan saying, who would we replace Bruno with realistically? That's going to be my next question in a minute, so we'll dive into that. Charlie saying, Bruno not going anywhere. Ken Oidie saying, you two put this useless transfer. Is it useless? I don't think it's useless, Ken. Come on. Have a break. Yeah, we're not the journalists who put it out.
The journalists put it out. We're just we're reacting to it.
We're reacting to it. Yeah. And it seems to be a weird kind of situation. People seem to think like we're reporting on the stories and we're the one pushing it out. Like, we've got a Twitter account with 2 million followers there, and we're saying, Bruno. No, we're reacting to it. Obviously, if there's news about Bruno going to Saudi, it's mega news, isn't it? We want to discuss it. I think a lot of other people do.
If you're thinking we have got ITK and journalistic people in the know, then you think far too much of us because we don't have any of that.
We have people who've been on the channel and friends we would probably call them who we could speak to about those kind of situations, but by no means necessarily they got the scoop on Bruno going to Saudi. I don't think that's anything, but it's very interesting to discuss. And you spoke about before, Sam, in regards to wages, that everyone's got a price. What's your price for Bruno to go? What figure would have to come through that door for you to go, okay, let's sell him?
150 million plus, I think around there. I think I'd have to go, because that allows you to then go out and get 2, maybe 3 players in to replace him, because you're not going to be able to go out and get a player just like Bruno. Like, it's just not possible. His work ethic, the creativity, how he's never injured, like all of that, it's very difficult to find one player to replace that. But you could potentially go out and get 2 or 3 players who could have a combination of those traits and bring him into the team and rebuild the squad. So I think it would have to be a significant number. Like, you're talking, Liverpool didn't want to sell Philippe Coutinho until Barca slapped 150 million on the table, and then it was like, okay,
well,
it's got to be that. It's got to be that kind of money. You
make a great point, actually, because we all remember the situation with Mohamed Salah, don't we, with Saudi, right? Who, was it £200 million he was offering?
Yeah.
So if I'm Manchester United and an offer comes through the door like that, I am saying, hold up a minute. You offered Salah a year ago, or I think it was about a year ago, wasn't it, roughly, 18 months ago. You offered him £200 million and this wage packet. And right now, and he was at a similar age that Bruno was at. I mean, Salah's 30 as well, isn't it? Or a close touch on that.
Yeah.
Both of them have had, I mean, Bruno's just behind Salah in terms of goals and assists together, like 20 goals, 20 assists almost. So surely can't you turn around actually and go, yeah, we want 150, 200 million. That's what you offered Salah.
He's got longer on his contract than Salah had at the time. Like, Salah was entering into the last year and a half of his deal.
Yeah.
Whereas Bruno's got 3, maybe 4 years left, plus a 1-year option, I'd imagine. He's captain as well. He's our most important player. Salah is their most important player. So the figures match up, man. Like, they can't be coming in with like standard money for him. Like, it's just not going to work. And if they do, don't even entertain the question. Just be like, nah, until you come in with like 3 numbers before that million, then we're not even going to talk to you.
I think they offered the same for Mbappe as well, around £200 million. I'm not saying Bruno is Mbappe. There's obviously a lot more longevity in Mbappe, but the figures speak for themselves. And if I think for me personally, my biggest issue would be replacing him. And I know there are people out there who say, actually, he can be a hindrance on the team at times and yada yada and all this kind of stuff, right? But let's have it outright. At the moment, he's the best 10 in the league, hands down, consistency. The numbers he's putting up, like we just spoke about, 20 goals and 20 assists. He's still won a couple of trophies with us. We look like we're on the brink of winning the Europa League as well, so that could be 3 trophies in 3 seasons. And he's been a massive, massive part of that with clutch moments. I don't know how you replace him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you take him out of the team, say this season, you take him out of the team, was it 20-odd goals and assists? Where are we? Relegated?
Probably.
Potentially. Do you know what I mean? So you have to replace that. And that's difficult. That's difficult to replace. You look at Liverpool, had they lost Van Dijk, Salah, and obviously they are losing Trent, had they lost all 3 of them, they'd be in deep shit. Like, how do you replace one of the best centre-backs in the league?
Irreplaceable.
Best forward in Europe at the moment, and your best right back that you've had for a long time. Like, it's impossible. And it's the same with Bruno. Like, if you lose Bruno, it's impossible to replace him.
Not only just that, it's attracting players of that caliber as well. Because it's all good and well saying, right, okay, if we lose Bruno, who has the talent level to then replace him? And you go around Europe, you think Musiala is pretty interesting as a young talent. I mean, he's super. Wirtz would definitely be another one I would consider. Bellingham, these players are the level, but getting them to United is impossible. Would they never sign for United, in my opinion? I don't think, unless you chucked a massive wage packet at him.
You're not getting Bellingham out of Madrid. Like, it's never happening. That's never going to happen. Florian Wirtz, if you've got Champions League football, maybe you could tempt him. But It's tricky, man. It's tricky, and you ain't getting Musiala out of Bayern Munich. Like, it's not happening.
No.
So it's
And
you start have to go down to like the next tier, then, don't you? And then you're like, you have to maybe get 2 or 3 of those to replace one Bruno, which is another issue.
Well, this is going to be my next thing. Would you then chuck 100 million at Cole Palmer? 120 million at Cole Palmer? That'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it?
It'd be an interesting deal because obviously, what has he got, a 9-year contract or something ridiculous?
Yeah, heavy contract.
So you got to pay that out, which is God knows what he's on. He is a United fan, boyhood United fan. His family United fans. He's from Manchester. Rashford obviously is probably leaving us at some point in the summer. There's your Mancunian star man, isn't it? Like it's quite easy to sell that dream and quite easy to sell that as a player for in terms of like sponsorships and stuff like that and make you money. So it's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one.
I think that would be the perfect way to cushion the blow of leaving Bruno.
Yeah.
I love Bruno Fernandes. I'm more than happy for him to stay. I'm saying in a hypothetical context, if United go, okay, we'll take the 150, and they go, who do you want us to reinvest this money in? I think the best option straight off the bat would be Cole Palmer, if you can go get him.
Yeah. And then you got 50 million to maybe go get a midfielder who can play in that thing to like a Zubimendi or somebody like that who could play in that 8 level. Like it is at some point money becomes too big to not take notice, and that's where it gets into territory where you're like, what do you do? What do you do?
I agree completely. I think United will be, I mean, Ineos will definitely think the same as well. Because there was conversations, like you said, before he even signed his contract, where it's like, oh, we might end up going. And maybe they didn't, because it's like, well, can we replace him? Is he enough money? And then when this kind of money comes in, you go, okay, we can do that. And we, so it's more affordable, it's more achievable.
Tim's got a good point in the chat. We need to plan for life with him, out of him eventually. Exactly. At some point, we are going to have to plan for Bruno. And it's like, it makes it a hell of a lot easier when you've got 150 million quid in your back pocket to plan for life without him. Whereas if he starts on the decline at 34, 35, not saying he will, but say he starts on a decline at that point, trying to sell him and get some money for him and then trying to replace him is a lot more difficult at that point.
Yeah, I think it makes the summer fascinating, If you are just joining us again, or if you're watching this later on, really want to hear your opinions on this Bruno Fernandes story to Saudi Arabia before the Club World Cup. How much is he worth? Would Bruno want the move? Would you sell him? And is he replaceable? Get it in the comment section. I need to move the story on because there's so much stuff to get into. We initially planned to have a conversation about Alejandro Garnacho, and as I mentioned, Sam, the summer is upon us. We had a lot of speculation in the January window that Napoli and Chelsea were, both really interested in the player. We had Napoli who even bid, I think it was around 40-odd million quid, which got rejected. And now reports are kind of resurfacing that, both clubs are still interested and they may even go back in for him in the summer. We've only got 4 to 6 games left max, and obviously a decision needs to be made. So before we get into the statistics and the finer things, what have you made of Garnacho's development so far? Where do you think he can go, and is he changing your mind this season?
He is, I think frustrating is the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the word I'd use to describe him, because clearly he's a very talented boy. Like, he's clearly got something. Like, there's not many players we've had in the last couple of years where, like, when I'm at Old Trafford, I can't speak for you, but when I'm at Old Trafford, he gets on the ball, people get up off the, like, that sound of the seats flipping up
Clacking.
every time he gets on the ball. Like, that's it. Ahmad is another one who does that. Like, he gets you excited and he plays in an exciting way. However, his finishing and his decision making leave a lot to be desired most of the time, which again is frustrating to the fans and stuff like that. I remember with Ronaldo, it was the same thing for ages. Just he didn't have an end product and people were losing their fucking minds about it. Yeah. And eventually it started coming, started developing it, and then became best player in the world. Can Garnacho do that? I don't know. I don't think his ceiling is as high as Ronaldo's. Like, I don't think it's at that level, but can he become a really good player? Absolutely. In the right system, the right environment, and him working as hard as possible, it definitely can. I've seen improvements when he plays on the right. He's forced to use his right football and put it across the box and assists and play people in. We saw it against Brentford. He played a very important ball into Mount and set up that goal. If he could do more stuff like that, he'll become an absolute game changer.
Yeah.
However, his mentality just seems to be very much, I am going to save this team. I'm going to score the goal that gets us out of this. And you saw that against Brentford as well. The absolute stunning strike that he does.
But Ronaldo was like that, wasn't he?
So it's like there's a lot of stuff going on there. If he can fine tune it and then start making the right decisions about when to shoot and then when to pass, and start making say he's having 10 opportunities where it's that, and he starts doing 7 out of 10 of them are successful, then you start talking about, okay, this is a good player. But at the minute, it's like, what, 2, maybe 3 out of 10 that are like get something or cause something. So he's got to improve that. But his ceiling is quite high, and his potential sell-on value is really high at the moment as well. But as the years go on and the more failures that he has, the price is going to start coming down again. And then what you do? You're like, it's going to be hard to shift him at that point.
Another interesting thing to debate. I'm just going to put a couple of statistics on the screen, and before we get into the negative ones, there was a stat that got reported out before that. So Manchester United players who've achieved 10 goals and 10 assists in one season over the last decade: Mata, Zlatan, Pogba, Martial, Rashford, Bruno, and Garnacho are the only ones in that conversation, and that's all competitions. 11 goals for Garnacho and 10 assists. Kind of despite what people think about him, and I agree with your frustrations as well, because we've both aired them many a times. The players that he's in that conversation with, and again, they're similar players who some people didn't like Pogba, some people didn't like Rashford, etc. They're still mega talented players, right? So to be in that company shows he's got something.
Yeah, like his talent's never been in denial. We've said that about Rashford. His talent is not in denial. Like, he is a very, very talented player.
Yeah,
it's just, can he put it together consistently? That's what it comes down to. That's what separates a potential player from a great player. The great players put it together and consistently perform every week. 9 times out of 10 will show up. You see that with Mo Salah. Like, he has his dips and stuff like that, but every season shows up 30 goals, guaranteed. Harry Kane's another one, shows up 25, 30 goals every season, guaranteed. Ronaldo, Messi, go on and on and on. The good players who are rated highly and people think, oh, he's going to be the next one, he's going to be the next one. They don't really kick on, did they? At some point, they don't really kick on. And they can't really put it together. You've seen the likes of Paul Pogba and people like that, Marcus Rashford currently. And you just hope like people like Garnacho figure it out. Like Lamine Yamal, I'm sure he'll go through a period where he's going to be like, can he step to the next level? He's already at high flying and stuff like that. But he's going to have to do that consistently now for the next 15 years.
He's set the standard now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to have to do that for 15 years, like average career. So that's where it comes down to. And the best players in the world do it consistently. And that's what he's going to have to sort of work up to. Because Ronaldo is his idol. If he wants to attain that status, that's what he's going to have to do.
Yeah. I must admit, before we get into the kind of the negatives of his game as well, I must admit recently I have liked his performances more and more. The things that we've been really annoyed with, I mean, even in that Brentford game alone, look at Mason Mount's goal, where that comes from. It's from him, first time on the ball, squaring it. And it's something we've been screaming for a long time. And he looks like, for a kid who's 20 years old, he looks like he's got so much confidence, when he takes the ball, like the goal against Brentford as well, the way he takes it in his stride, 1-2, and just smashes it top corner. You're like, 20-year-old kids don't do this, No. There is a special talent there.
He's also extremely hard working. Like, he's relentless. He doesn't stop. Yeah. Like, he just goes, and even if he fails, he goes again and he goes again and he goes again. He just keeps going. And that's something you can't really teach. You can't teach someone to just be relentless and go and go and go. Like, it's either in you or it's not. Like, we've seen so many players. Like, look at Berbatov, absolute silky on the ball and stuff, but he ain't running. He has to go back and forth, up and down and stuff like that. He's going to wait for the ball to come to him. That's just who he is. Yeah. But Garnacho, he wants the ball. He wants to run at people. He'll get back and defend. Like, he is constantly on the go, and that's something really impressive. That's something you want in a player. Bruno's another one of those players, just constantly going non-stop. So, yeah, he's definitely got some traits where you're like, there's a lot of stuff in here I like about this kid, but it's putting it together, as always. That's always the thing.
Yeah, and the area of concern for him, I mean, his dribbling success rate, 33%, is relatively low in comparison to the decent wingers in the Prem, and also big chances missed. He's missed 13 in total, which, I mean, that's the biggest thing with him. He's so wasteful.
Sort that out. You need to sort that out.
He's so fucking wasteful, man. Like, how many times have we sat here after a show when we've done the post-match review and just like, Garnacho, missed this, missed that. There's so many games, isn't there, where he's missed huge chances.
I wish there was a stat as well for like wrong decisions that he's made.
Oh,
There's so many times where he's like running and there's a guy free in the box and he's like, just square it, and it's a tap in. And he goes, nah, and he tries to cut in, and then 4 players surround him, and then he gets a shot off and he gets blocked. And you just like, if you just squared it, that's a goal and it's done. Like, it's ridiculous. That happens so many times. And the amount of times I've seen in the group chat, it's like, why is Garnacho not squared that?
Yeah.
And then you saw what happened. When he did square it, Mason Mount scores a goal within a few minutes. It's like, it's that simple. Sometimes football is that simple.
I get it's a learning curve for him, but you would think there's a learning curve when he does it 2 or 3 times. When he's done it 10 to 15 times, that's when it's just basically being ignorant and just wants to do his own thing. But obviously, Amarin must have had a conversation with him and got to a point where he's gone, Garno, look at these footages here. I'm going to show you on the screen. Yeah. This is 15 to 20 times you could have squared a player in, and you didn't fucking do it. If you do that again next time, you're not even starting the game.
Yeah.
You know, drill it into him.
It's fine. Like you said, if he does it a couple of times because he wants to score, then it's like fine. Like, okay, he's a young player, he wants to score, it's fine. Like you said, if he does it the entire game, he's just like, come on, like you've got to be better than that. Like Ruben Amorim, like keep them guessing. Sometimes come in on your right and try and get a shot, but other times face him up and then square it, because then they don't know what you're going to do. Like I know Antony's absolutely killing it in La Liga at the minute, but you knew what he was going to do. He was going to cut in on his left and he's going to try and bend that shot in. Every time, every single time. So the defender's like, I'm not even going to look down the byline because he's not going to go there. I'm just going to square up and just wait, and then we'll just nick the ball off him. And it's not, be unpredictable. Square it sometimes. So they're like going, do I need to turn? Do I need to like get across? Yeah. And then when they do that, then you've got your spacey and you go in and stuff like that. Keep them guessing. Iron Robin was a master at it. Yeah. He used to do it all the time. Like defenders, fullbacks didn't know what to do because you didn't know whether he was going to go down the line, didn't know whether he was going to cut in, you didn't know if he was square it. Like, he didn't know what he was going to do. That's what Garnacho has to bring to his game. Like, he has to bring that into his game.
It's what makes Mo Salah the best in the world, really, in that position, or one of them at least. His decision-making in crucial areas, knowing when to go to his right foot, knowing when to curl it in, knowing when to put it back post, front post. Like, his decision-making is 90% of the time absolutely flawless. Yep. So to get up to that, I know it's extremely hard, and it's a different kind of skill, decision-making, but I think you do make a good point, actually. Like, trying to measure that decision-making in players, can you coach that more? Is it an instinctual thing, like, internally? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you've got to get it into the heads, like, your first option has to be, look if there's a person in a better position than me. That's what you got to look for. Like, I think because his first thought just seems to be, "Where's the goal? That's where I'm going."
Yeah.
And he's not even aware of anybody in the box or anybody that's going on over there. But if you get his first thing said, like, have a quick glance in the box, is anybody in a good position where I can get somebody in there? That has to be his first instinct, because I know we don't really have wingers anymore, but as a wide forward, that should be your first instinct. Is like, where's the striker, or is there a midfielder arriving that I can pull this into or get a cross in? That should be your first instinct. But his first instinct is obviously, he's got like the mindset at number 9, and he's just greedy. He's just like, I want to score, I want to score, I want to score, I want to score.
Yeah, you're right. He is number 9 mindset as a 10. But he's a winger, so you've got a load of confusions ongoing there. Right, let's go to the comment section before we get into the second slide. Chivy's saying, how legit is this news? In regards to the Bruno stuff that we touched on at the start, I mean, the journalist seems pretty legit from Saudi, works for one of the biggest publications, so go on.
I've just seen Ronaldo Brown from Paddock saying it's a supposed tier 1 source for the team itself and the Saudi Pro League, so it seems like legit. And Bruno representative already had one more meeting with him than the one that's being reported, so seems pretty legit.
I've just seen as well, Al Hilal have made an official offer for Bruno Fernandes as well. That's on X. So, I mean, this is going to be one of those where you get a main journalist who reports it, and then kind of ones around him in Saudi will then start, kind of adding to it and saying, oh, it's nearly done, and these kind of things. Just need to be careful with that kind of stuff. Alex saying that Salah money is still there. Yep, for sure. I think it's definitely something to keep in mind. Chivy saying, as frustrating as Garnacho is, there is a list of players that we need to be shifting before we can consider selling him. Rashford, Antony, Mount, and Højlund should be ahead of the queue at the door. I think that's a really good point, Sam, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's the way you've got to look at it, innit? It's always about perspective. Like, it's not, as simple. Like I've just seen somebody retweet this, and it's a really interesting thing. Garnachos discourse is interesting online. I feel like he isn't as good as one side of the fan base makes him out to be, but he also isn't as bad as the other side of the fan base makes him out to be. He's somewhere in the middle. A lot of flaws. I don't think he'll become a great player, but he can be a very good one. So I think it's quite a balanced argument, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating argument, actually, because I'm really on the fence with him. I see something there that is super, super special, and I think we may end up regretting it if he goes to Napoli and starts
He'll smash it. If he goes to Napoli, the way they play, he will absolutely look like a world beater.
Yeah.
He will be their Kvaratskhelia. He will be that new Kvaratskhelia. And people will be like, why have United sold him? But it will happen. Yeah. I guarantee it.
And then you have to rely on bringing someone in who is similar star quality with a massive ceiling, fitting into this system. I know Garnacho isn't a life fit, but then who are you going to replace him with? Who are you going to bring in? Because we're already supposedly signing Cunha regardless anything, right? Yeah. So Cunha's going to play in his position, we think. Who's going to come in for him?
We've seen in Buemo. Mike McGrath said that yesterday, didn't he? I don't know how true that is, but that's been there. You start looking at, I'm not saying Florian Wirtz because I don't think we're capable of getting, but you got to start looking at that level, haven't you? That young, talented, ready to take the next step. No offense to Bayer Leverkusen. Like, I think what they did the other year was fantastic, but in terms of the Bundesliga, they are a smaller team. Like Bayern Munich is the giant, Dortmund slightly behind him, and then after that, everybody else around it. So he wants to take the next step up. We've seen City link with him. We've seen Madrid link with him. So he's clearly a very talented player. That's the sort of player you got to go after if you're going to replace him. Young, extremely talented, high ceiling. That's who you've got to go after. We can't just go out and be like, oh, let's just buy Jadon Sancho, for example, hyped up, but not actually done any research or anything like that, and it fails. Like, we need to do proper research, proper scouting, and find that player.
Someone who I know United appreciate and I really like as well as Xavi Simons. I don't know where he's going to move this summer. I know there is people who said similar things that you just mentioned there about him being overhyped. Everything I've seen, whether it's been at Leipzig, for Netherlands, he's looked really, really good for me. So if you're going to replace someone like that, I mean, bringing in someone like Xavi Simons and having Cunha, it's just such a world of difference in those kind of areas.
He plays in that position as well, doesn't he? The inside 10.
Yeah, just an attacking midfielder. Yeah. Moondog saying, evening, gentlemen. If you lose Bruno, you're absolutely screwed. My Damned United saying the only way you're ever going to get Palmer out of Chelsea is if another player's going the other way, purely for the level of accounting for career required for the Bucks. Garnacho plus Palmer. That's interesting because Chelsea do want Garnacho, don't they?
They did, yeah. They were after him. I mean, I'd do that deal.
Yeah, I don't whether Chelsea. I mean, trying to get that past Chelsea fans, they've absolutely. Yeah. I think they've murdered the owners genuinely.
Yeah, I mean, they're already pissed off anyway.
Exactly.
So yeah,
exactly. Alex saying efficiency is the biggest trait of the world beaters. I like Nacho when he's capable of producing moments, but I don't see him staying personally. Yeah, I know that. I mean, let's just get the other slide on the thing because we wanted to go through that. Yeah, again on the negative side of things, total shots in the Premier League, Sam, 83. His conversion rate 7.2, which is one of the worst in the league. And we spoke about moments before. Go on.
What's one of the better ones? Who's got like
if we're
like Salah and stuff like that? What's their conversion rate?
Let's pull it up. But just speak to me whilst I'm researching this. We mentioned games before. Tottenham, Lyon, Leicester games spring to mind where you just think in the right moment, if he's clinical, he could be a game changer, can't he?
That's what, again, we go back to Ronaldo. That's what he did. Like when he originally came in, he had the noodle hair and he was running, he was doing his step overs, and he'd get to the box and he'd make the wrong decision or sky it or get blocked, and people were tearing their hair out. And then eventually it started to click. Okay, right decision, be clinical. Either if you're in a good position to put the ball in the back of net, put it in the back of net, or if you're in a good position to set somebody up, you do that. And he started making the right decision after the right decision after the right decision, and he became a Ballon d'Or winner at United, the last Ballon d'Or winner we had, by the way. Like, we haven't won one since. So, and then obviously had his career at Real Madrid. So that's what sort of separates you. Like Alex said, like efficiency, you have to make the right decisions majority of the time. You can't just make the right decisions some of the time. Like, obviously, you're not going to make the right decision every single time because it's impossible. but you have to make the right decision the majority of the time. That's what separates you from good players and great players.
Yep, spot on. So, Strand Larson for Wolves has a 62% shot conversion rate.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's fucking...
Yeah, Chris Ward, 58, Haaland, 56.
Are they taking similar shot numbers? Like, what's their shot
Erling
numbers?
Haaland, let me just get the shots up. Where's it gone? This is done really, really weird. So I'll get it up on another site because his website's dead bizarre.
Yeah. Because that's what you got to think, like, oh, he's got 67% shot conversion, but he's taken 10 shots. And he's just like...
But if you think how many shots Garnacho takes in general...
That's what I'm saying. He takes a lot. He takes a lot of shots.
A lot.
Yeah.
Right. Why is this being just decided when the one time I want to get some stats up, it's starting to be an absolute fuck about player stats. There we go. Right.
Junior Gavin said, personally replace Bruno with Vert, so I'm not selling. There you go.
Yeah. That's fair.
People are aiming high.
So Haaland's having 102 shots. That's what he's had. Garnacho's had 80 odd. So there's not that much of a difference.
No, yeah, not too, but so 20 plus shots.
Yeah.
And he's a striker as well, so you'd expect him to have more shots.
And he's converting like 50% of them. So it's a huge gap.
So
1 out of 2.
Every other shot he's converting, which is ideal for a number 9. That's what you want. Like that's what you want for you. Even if Garnacho was doing like 1 out of 3, that'd be
He's not even doing 1 in 10.
Yeah. That's the reality of the situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a problem. If we move to the positive side of things, I mean, people might not look at this as a positive, but I'll explain in a second. Minutes played, all competitions, 3,437 minutes this season, and in market value, you would probably imagine is around 50 to 60 million pound is what I would say. But again, people might have kind of different opinions on that. Now, the reason why I say the minutes played is impressive is because I know it could be a negative in terms of injuries and being overplayed. I get that 100% right. But what I'm saying is the fact that he is available for every single game and he is dogged as well. And the experience he's getting, scoring in an FA Cup final at 19 can only serve you well, right? So when you're 26, 27.
No, the experience is like second to none. Like you look at Lamine Yamal, like he's in a Champions League semi-final at 17. He played in a Euros final at 16. Yeah. Like, how many players have done that? Like, I couldn't name one, to be honest with you. I couldn't name one. So that experience is significant. I do, however, think he's played too much minutes for a young player.
I agree.
I think he's had far too much minutes. Like, if you go back to, I know it's a different game now and there's more games and it's a different sort of sport, but if you go back to when, like, Class of 92 was coming through or people like that, they weren't playing that many minutes. They'd start a game and then Fergie would bench him and they'd come on for 10 minutes here and there to develop them so they're not getting... It's like, you saw what happened to Rooney. He started at 16 and he basically didn't stop. And he had to retire at, 33, 34? Because his fucking legs had just fallen off. Michael Owen was the same, started at 16 and his knees had gone by the time he was like 30. And that's the risk when you play young players. You're just playing them over and over and over again. The risk of injuries goes up and a lot of a freak like Bruno, which not a lot of players are, like not all players do what he does. You risk that thing, and I think why it's admirable he has played that and he's always available, which is great. I just think that amount of minutes for a young player is never a good thing in my eyes, anyway.
I get that, and I know there will be a lot of people kind of with a similar mindset. It's weird, and it's like a double-edged sword. You like the experience, and big moments are important for him to learn from.
It's a balance. You got to balance it. Yeah.
It's all a balancing act.
You don't want a young player like with Ahmad, for example, under Ten Hag. You're like, this guy has got something, give him some fucking minutes, and he just never played him. And you don't want that because then the player gets frustrated. He's not developing and stuff like that. So you don't want that either. But you don't want him just playing weak. Remember what happened with Langer and the Ragnick? He just played game in, game out, and he just fell off a cliff form wise. Like he just completely capitulated because he's just playing every single minute. And now you see him at Forest. That's what we were expecting out of him. That's a good player. Like he's a decent player. But because he was played into the ground, he was just suffering. But when he's played on a regular thing, that's what you get out of it. And I don't want Garnacho to become that. We saw that back end of last season. Like you saw him starting to fall apart. And I don't want that for young players.
Do you agree with the market value? Do you think what would you say if an offer came in for him now? What would you accept? Do you think
60 would be the starting point? That's where it'd be like conversation at the table. 60 million.
where's the context for that? Like, what are you measuring that against, or what do you think he's worth? So, for example, I don't know, Antony Gordon from Newcastle went for £60 million, right, when he was at Everton. You couldn't say that he was more talented at the time when Newcastle bought him than what Garnacho is now. So it's probably a right figure, right?
Well, with Gordon, he's English, so that adds
premium
a bit of money, done it, and it was in the Premier League to another Premier League team, so there's another sort of added value tax to it. Garnacho, I think his ceiling, his potential, that's where you pay money for.
Yeah,
you pay money for the fact that we've brought him for our academy and we've developed him and stuff like that, and then also the name value. He is quite a big commercial name, probably not the biggest, but he's quite a big commercial name, so you've got to add that into it. Nobody's buying a shirt with Antony Gordon selling it. If Garnacho's got it, no offense to Antony Gordon, but if Garnacho's got it, people are going to buy the shirt, man. Like, they're going to buy the shirt. So
Junior saying, oh, sorry, you already read that comment out. Alex saying, I want Wharton personally. Oh, mate, I think Sam would take him. I would take it. Everyone would take Adam Wharton. There's going to be a big queue for him. Sorry, Statman Nick. I still can't get excited by Strand Larson. Don't even know how to spell it. Yeah, look, everyone has their own preference. Absolutely, I get it. I was just feeding the stats.
Though. He's got the goals.
He scores. He's in double figures for goal. I tell you what, I'd take Strand Larson over Hoyland right now. 1,000,000%. Yeah. I actually don't mind Strand Larson. I think he's decent.
He's consistent. He scores goals. I don't have a problem. He's better than what's the other? Is it Huang Li Chan? Like, he doesn't get. You don't get any
in and out of the team. Yeah. I mean, even if you go with Garnacho, even if you look at his most recent game, 90 minutes played, a banger of a goal against Brentford, 1 assist as well, and then 5 key passes he had involved in it. So he is improving. I know them stats can be swayed because, as we touched on in the post-match review with the right back, who Coyote, whatever his name is, did really, really well. But he's still effective. I mean, 11 goals and 10 goals and 11 assists, whichever way around it is. He's getting better and better. There is things you can visually look at. It's improving, isn't it? So if it keeps going on that metric, he's going to get to an unplayable point.
Stats-wise, it's impressive and stuff like that. But the eye test, when you watch him,
yes,
is another thing, isn't it? The eye test is frustration, annoyance, and stuff like that. But stats-wise, he's getting it in and he's doing it. I've just seen James McGorgan. Can't imagine like going to the barber asking him for Antony Gordon either.
Yeah, wow, absolutely spot on that. Let me pin that message. Funny. Wow. Yeah, can I just have a Gordon all over, please, mate?
Yeah.
Without looking like Shirley from Coronation
Street. I was like, what?
Yeah. What? No, pal. I get it. You couldn't have said it any better, James, to be fair, mate. Another stat here for you. Garnacho has scored 16 Premier League goals before his 21st birthday, with 3 games still to play, having overtaken Gabriel Jesus yesterday. That's the most of any non-European player in the competition's history. So, look, he's putting stats and numbers up. He's definitely raw and rugged still, but he needs to work on elements of his game. We know this. The final question I want to... Do you sell him in the summer?
I think if there's anybody who's going to be sold for United in terms of like getting a big return, it's probably him. Obviously, the names mentioned were Kobbie Mainoo and Garnacho. I think if Kobbie Mainoo was sold, there'd be a riot at Old Trafford.
Can I ask, though, about that, just very quickly? With Kobbie, does he fit into the system at a minute?
I think we're trying to find where he fits. I think that's what the thing is. But there's also the fact that because Kobbie's Mancunian, that's another factor. Yeah. Like you've got to take in the sort of local lad. They always get a bit more of a stretch than a South American. Well, he's Spanish technically, but he plays for Argentina. Than a sort of like a South American lad. So Rashford, like if Rashford was not Mancunian from our academy, would he have been lasted as long as he did with the poor seasons that he had?
No.
I don't know. No. I don't know. So yeah, I think you always get a bit more sort of like rope if you're a Mancunian.
I mean, I like Kobbie. I think he's a really talented player. I don't know if Amorim fancies him as like. I don't know if he's just being careful with him, but I'm not seeing anything from him this season, and I love him as a player. I really, really do. But I just hope we can find somewhere for him permanently because he is that talented. I think.
Hopefully, he plays him in the 10. He's one of the 10 options. Like I'd like to see that. I think that's where he'd be best utilised in my eyes. I would personally sell Mason Mount.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I would sell Mason Mount and put Kobbie in there. So you got Kobbie, Bruno, Cunha, and then another whoever you want in there, and then Ahmad would be your right wing back.
You talk about the demand though. Like, does anyone want to buy Mount? That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the problem.
A lot of people want to buy Mainu. No one wants to buy Mount.
Yeah.
So it's like you fucked either way, basically. I mean, I can't wait for the summer. There's going to be so many things ongoing. Just very quickly, but speaking of kind of impact and wingers, we have an Antony update after his banger last night. He just cannot stop scoring for Real Betis. Apparently, a meeting took place last week between Betis and United about Antony. Betis have proposed extending Antony's loan for another season, this time covering almost his entire salary. Betis fear another team might come forward with a £34 million offer, which United would accept. Why do teams always try to palm us off with shitty fucking offers like this?
Yeah. No, pay up. If you want him, pay the fucking
Honestly.
money. He's scoring bangers for you every fucking week. He's one of your best players. If you want him, pay the fucking money. It's that simple. Don't loan him out again. Don't do that shit. Get the money. Pay it. It's that simple.
It is a joke, though, isn't it? So many teams have said, "Oh, well, we'll take a player off you, but we don't want to pay all of his wages." Like, fuck off. It's a loan.
Do you remember Dortmund?
Yeah,
saying, "Oh, yeah, we really like him. We want him, but we don't really want to pay for him."
Yeah.
Like, fuck off then.
Yeah, fuck off. Like Sevilla wanted Martial, but then we had to pay half of his wages. I think we had to pay half of Pereira's wages. When Alexis Sanchez went to Inter Milan, we paid the majority of his wages. I'm saying, fuck off. If you want, he's obviously a talented player and he's adapting to this league now and fits in. If you don't want to pay £30 million or around that figure for someone who's getting double figures basically in the league, like I can guarantee someone else will pay that 100%.
Yeah, so you want him, pay it. That's that simple.
Yeah, hopefully we sell him.
It's not a fucking difficult question, lads. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. We are going to stick with the theme of wingers as well. We've had an update in regards to our game coming up on Thursday, which the preview for that will be dropping tomorrow again, guys. So please do go and check that out. But neither Nico Williams or Sansei, who's one of their best players, has trained with Athletic Club today ahead of their Old Trafford visit. So it doesn't seem like they're going to be available. We also had news about Tottenham's James Maddison, expected to miss the final. Yeah. And Bergval's out for the season. Solanke's a bit of a doubt as well. So it seems like all these stars
Son's a doubt as well.
Yeah.
Like Son was on the thing injured, wasn't even on the bench the other week. So, yeah, it's looking good. Looking good.
Does that fill you more confidence for Thursday night?
No,
I knew he was going to say that.
Until the game's over, I'm not fucking counting any chickens at this point.
Yeah. We'll save ourselves for that. But I mean, it can only be good news if Nico Williams isn't available. He was one of the players in the first 20 minutes, wasn't he? Where it was when you pick it up against Lindelof, you're like just kind of covering your eyes, like, please, God, no. So if he's not available, it can only be beneficial to us. And the last question, just on Casemiro, because there was a report about him that the sources at Carrington had been struck by how leaner Casemiro is this season, and also regarding him as one of the most respectful players they've encountered. Amrin's been impressed by how hard Casemiro's worked to meet his demands to regain his place in the team. Amrin's noticed that Casemiro never complained when he was out of the team as well. Have you been impressed by how much he's actually... this revival of Casemiro? It's been a bit mad on it, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think we've found, like, when he's got somebody next to him who's willing to do the dog work and cover space for him, we've seen he can thrive, and he's good. Like, his passing range is fantastic. His ability to score headers, by the way, I don't think there's anyone better in the team. Like, every fucking time he gets a head on, he's either got it in the back of the net or he's hitting the post or making a keeper.
Always wins it as well, doesn't he? Like, his timing's really good.
Like, Harry Maguire wins a lot of headers, but barely scores. Like, barely fucking scores with it. Casemiro is fantastic. Like, the amount of headers he's done for that. So, yeah, I like it. I really like this revival. It's just a shame his fucking wage is so high, isn't it, man? Like, if we could renegotiate that, I wouldn't mind keeping him. Really wouldn't. But
it's mad how a narrative can flip, though, innit, with players like that, because I think you would have asked everyone 6 months ago, 95% of people would have said, get rid of him. Well,
Harry Maguire, same thing. Like, last year, people were like, get rid of him, he's shit. But now, look at him. He's fucking like Harry Maguinho, like down the
Harry Maguinho.
You know what I mean?
Sounds like a wizard.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, like, you can never write somebody off unless it's like years and years and years and years of just consistently being shit. Then obviously you can. But like, it's bizarre. Like, it's bizarre his turnaround. But he's always been a class player, hasn't he? He's always been like, he's always had that in him. I think I think it's always been there. I think, like Chivy mentioned, and shout out to him, like, it's the system. I think the system was not doing him any favors.
Yeah, agreed. He looks far better now, and I'm glad for it. And hopefully, has a stellar performance in and Maguire, to be fair, on Thursday night. Keep an eye out for that preview. Keep an eye out for all the stories locked in on our Instagram surrounding the Bruno Fernandes news story, stuff on Garnacho. There'll be loads of stuff going off. So all of them in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Insta, TikTok, Twitter. Check us out. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. 14,273 subs at the minute. We are getting ever closer to that 15K mark, which is incredible. And yeah, I mean, it's all going off with Man United at the minute. This week is going to be busy, busy, busy. So turn on that notification bell so you do not miss a thing. We put a thing up at the start of the show saying how much is Bruno Fernandes worth. 73% of you said 100 million plus. 10% said 80 to 100 million. 13% said 60 to 80 million. And 3% said 40 to 60 million. I want to know who those 3%ers are.
Who the fuck is rating 40 to 60 million?
Fucking criminals, every single one of you. It's probably that journalist from Saudi. He's the one who's put that in there. But anyway, we'll leave it at that, guys. Been live for nearly an hour, and yeah, covered a lot of stuff. So we're going to leave it at that. You do have Monday Night Football tonight. Don't forget, people. Nottingham Forest against Palace if you want to go watch that. And yeah, me and Sam